What's the worst thing you've accidentally texted to the wrong person?
Story 1. Not a text exactly, but a text that turned to a call with the same outcome. Very long night of drinking in the city, which spilled into the morning. Got back to my friends in Jersey and needed to get home upstate almost 1.5 hours one way by early afternoon to walk my dogs, since my parents got delayed and couldn't. Obviously, I wasn't going to make it in my current state. Was talking to this girl Casey at the time, more than I was Casey. Texted Casey, thinking it was Casey, and got annoyed she didn't understand some of what I was saying. Called her and explained I knew she had to work later, but I needed a huge favor. She was confused and asked who I thought it was on the phone, and I said, Casey, we were together the other night. To which she replied, right name, wrong girl. I hung up. Needless to say, me and Casey didn't get very far, LOL. Called Casey, and it all went way better than expected. Sorry, Casey. So here you thought that Casey was up to bat, and it was a swing and a miss. Someone's going to get that reference. I hope. Maybe. Also, it took me a while to realize that those were different spellings of a name and not typos, so hopefully my delivery of that doesn't confuse people like it confused me. Story 2. After 3 miscarriages and then a horribly complicated pregnancy with our son, I was warned never to have another child. I had an IUD inserted. It works well for almost 3 years, but that morning I tested positive on a home pregnancy test. I had to go to the doctor immediately because if you get pregnant on an IUD, the risk of an ectopic pregnancy is high. I started miscarrying while waiting for the blood tests to come back. Of course, my partner was worried about me, so I texted them as I left the clinic. Well, doesn't effing matter if it's ectopic or not. I'm having yet another miscarriage. Goddamn, am I good at killing babies. Except I accidentally sent the text to my mother-in-law. My heart just breaks for this person having to go through, all those miscarriages and the panic and the fear and everything. Oh my gosh. And then to pile on top of that, the just mortification I'm sure you must have felt sending that to your mother-in-law. I hope that your mother-in-law is just a really rad, understanding person and didn't hold it against you, because who could? I think at that point you're allowed to say whatever the hell you want. But even still, my sympathies to this person wherever they are.
Story 3. Man, you gay as F, to my professor who turned out to be a homosexual when it was meant to be sent to my friend because he texted me that he just saw Matthew Perry in person and he was freaking out. My professor didn't reply or anything, so I assumed he just ignored it. When I got into his class the next day, I pretended not to know anything, and after a while, I just thought he forgot about it. But at the end of class, he called me and asked how'd I know he was gay. I told him I didn't mean anything bad and had just texted the wrong person, so naturally, awkwardness ensued. Long story short, he never talked to me again, but gave me a grade higher than I deserved. Story 4. Not exactly texted, but iCloud transfer. My girlfriend at the time had wanted a picture of my D. I had never taken a D pic before, so why not? So I took the pic and sent it to my girlfriend. The next day, I'm with my girlfriend and my dad calls me. I answer and he's like, "Why the F does your mom have a picture of your D on her phone?" This was no ordinary picture either. I was laying on my back, got an erection, and propped my D up nice and straight and put the camera beneath my D with my face in the background. It was some good crap. Turns out they had just set up iCloud that day, and I had used my dad's credit card for music most recently, so my phone was hooked up to their iCloud, and I had no idea. I couldn't look my mom in the eyes for a while.
Well. If I didn't need yet another reason to stick to Android, this is it, right here. I definitely don't want to be sending pictures of my wiener to my mom. She especially... No. There should be no way that happens. I'm very upset by this.
Story 5. I don't remember all the details because it was a long time ago, but too long didn't read naked pic of girlfriend to dad. I had the pictures saved in some weird place in order to hide them, but I couldn't get them to cover the full screen, so I would text them to myself. It was an old crappy touchscreen phone, the kind that used a grid and pressure. When I was scrolling down to me in the contacts, it selected my dad as a recipient on the way down. I managed to go full ninja, convince my mom to drive me to his house by saying it was a very angry text meant for a friend that I was embarrassed about, got in and deleted it before he woke up. P.S. I don't remember how old I was, but apparently not old enough to drive, at least not without an adult in the passenger seat. Story 6. I have a horrible/hilarious/awesome history of sending texts to the wrong person. Most are pretty harmless, like once I was really sick and bedridden for 2 weeks. My significant other was taking care of me, so I texted her, she was downstairs, and asked her if she could bring me some green tea. I accidentally sent it to my mate, and he actually brought it. But some are very naughty. I was friends with benefits with this girl from back home, and I was across the planet at the time, so we, intimately texted a lot. I meant to send her a D-pic, but sent it to this girl I met a few days ago. I started freaking out because I legitimately liked this girl and wanted to date her. Thinking I just murdered my chances with her, I started texting an apology, but she sent me a nude back. I'm marrying this woman in February. My mate from the first story is going to be my best man.
There's nothing at all horrible about this story. You sent a text and you had a friend who did a wonderful thing for you and apparently made your friendship closer. And then you sent a picture of your dingle dangle to some girl you were interested in, and she sent you a picture of her who's he what's it. And now you're getting married. This is a great story. Folks, turns out just sometimes send, not going to encourage people to don't send naked pictures to anyone ever. That's my advice, please.
Story 7. Back in college in my group house, we had a tradition in which we roasted the departing members each year, non-native speakers. Roast in this context means to make fun of someone in front of an audience. One guy's approach to the roast was that the woman being roasted always got good news, so he was going to give her some bad news. He asked me to text her in the middle of the roast, "You are HIV positive." No problem, I'm happy to help out. Then during the roast, the moment of truth arrives and I clandestinely hit send on my Nokia 2100. Seconds pass, nothing. The roaster asked the roastee if she had her phone on her, but she didn't. So that's why she didn't get a text notice, I thought. Turns out she had also changed her phone number, and a couple hours later I get a response back, "Who the F is this?" Story 8. First year of university, and I was walking to my drug dealer's house for the first time alone. He was just a nice-looking bro looking to make money for groceries, so I'd never had a reason to be afraid of him, but it was pretty late at night, so I was texting my roommate to sort of ease my anxiety. Made small talk with his bro roommates until the deed was done. When I left, I texted my roommate, "The eagle has landed," and I wasn't even as assaulted. Before I could put my phone away, I got a text from my dealer. "What? Just a bunch of good guys here, haha." Called my weed dealer plus his friends Arists, and they continue to be pretty cool after that. Shout out to Pat. Story 9. Yeah, get the boat ready. I just told my boss I was sick and won't be in today. To my boss. It is worth noting that my boss was cool about it and responded with, "Bass fever, huh?"
Seriously? That's a good boss. That's a reaction a boss should have, because you know what? Yeah, sometimes you just need to be able to take a mental health day. And what's better for your mental health than fishing? Unless you're me, and you're also very bad at fishing, and it's frustrating. But still, it's nice to sit on a boat. Story 10. Texted my straight male friend, "You make me so unbelievably hard," intended for my girlfriend. He just went with it, assuming I was joking with him. Story 11. Texted my high school football coach, "Goodnight, I love you," as a freshman, intended for my girlfriend. He made me run extra at practice the next day for telling a girl I loved her as a freshman. Life lesson learned. Story 12. I went on a date with this girl. It was very boring. However, I could tell she thought it was going great. We said goodbye and I was on my way. A few hours later, a friend texted and asked me how the date went. I texted with an entire paragraph of why the date sucked and why I didn't like her. I got a question mark as a response.
To my horror, I texted the very girl I had just gone on the date with. It was extremely embarrassing, but the girl said she appreciated the honesty.
No. Oh, I'm all for honesty in even just like after a first date. Honesty, open communication, very good. Tact and proper delivery are important, however, and I'm sure that was just unpleasant for both of you. But hey, glad it turned out okay.
Story 13. One time I skipped school and stayed home without my parents knowing, and instead of texting my brother, I texted my dad, "Crap, Dad's home." I just brushed it off and said my brother wanted me to text him that or something stupid along those lines. Freshman year wasn't my brightest. Story 14. I want you to wear that little black thing that barely covers your butt tonight. Wink. Meant for a F-buddy sent to my estranged father whom I had recently reconnected with. The kicker? I had told him that I couldn't see him that night because I had a family event to go to. Story 15. I'm an old person, 70, and my husband and I are still quite playful. One night he put on my bra and panties and was dancing around. I took a picture or video, can't remember which, and accidentally sent it to my daughter. She did not laugh. I was completely mortified, but now we just laugh about it, and she has a broader picture of her parents.
I don't know who this person is, but I aspire to be like them. I think that's amazing that, you and your husband, you're in your 70s, you're getting wild and having some wacky fun and everything like that. And your kids saw and you're just like, whatever, deal with it. That's great. We should all be like this person.
Story 16. My parents went out of town for the night. I invited 10 to 15 people over for a small get-together. I accidentally sent a text to my mom when I was doing my mass text. Boy, did I get a butt-whooping the next day. Story 17. 2 texts, actually. In Hangouts, there's a dice rolling feature, /roll D20. That's fun to play with. I thought I was texting my friend. Nope, it was my boss. /me blocks the punch and inserts the fist of domination into your rectum, establishing control over your cognitive thoughts. /me rolls D20 and gets 15. Yeah, I still have a job there. Story 18. I sent a smutty fan fiction about Sherlock effing a chocolate cake to the wrong person on Facebook. I couldn't handle explaining why I'd accidentally sent him gay bakery erotica with the caption, "This is something you'd be into," so I just never spoke to him again. When I die, that is how he'll remember me. Sorry, Brody. I was also saved from becoming homeless because I sent a text to the wrong person, but that doesn't suit the thread anywhere near as much. Story 19. Not me, but when my girlfriend and I still lived apart, she sent a nude to her dad instead of me. She put the pieces together pretty quickly when she heard her dad's phone go off downstairs. My name is also 3 letters starting with DA, and ran downstairs to delete it. Close call that I obviously thought was hilarious. Pretty much every time we dirty text now, I tell her to make sure she's not sending it to him.
There are too many of you people sending naked pictures to your parents. You just gotta stop. Seriously, stop sending naked pictures. I don't know why any of you would risk this. I certainly do not, because I know how clumsy I am and how likely I am to accidentally send it to someone wrong. So, yeesh.
Story 20. A girl was texting me naked pics and I was simultaneously texting my friend with the play-by-play. She sent me a butt shot and I texted my friend, "Her butt looks like someone stuffed a garbage bag full of mashed potatoes and then used it for target practice with a BB gun." Except I didn't text that to my friend. I texted it to her. She didn't respond and went silent on me for nearly a month until one day she texted me out of the blue like nothing ever happened. A couple days after she started talking to me again, she ended up sucking my C in the parking lot of a Panera Bread and swallowing. Story 21. This literally happened yesterday. Was texting a friend about how some people make a decent living off sucking D. My wife's mom texted me to see if I was doing anything after work so we could all go out to dinner. I responded, "I guess that depends on how good you are at D-sucking," to her instead of my friend. I've never typed "I'm sorry" so many times in my life. Story 22. Not one I sent, but received from a friend after she left. He has no idea. I just left him now. I wrote it off saying something like my ears are burning, but years later found out her friend who I was into but was sure hated me actually had a massive crush on me. Oh well, worse things have happened. Story 23. Not me, but one of my sergeants. We were field training for 2 weeks and I was working supply. The lieutenant who was commanding supply was waiting for item reports, getting them as texts. All of a sudden he checks his phone, says, "What the F?" and replies very swiftly. He hands me the phone to see what was up. One of the sergeants, instead of an item report, had sent, "You like the thought of me watching while you F other people, don't you?" The lieutenant had replied, "Not even a sir at the end?" I laughed until said sergeant showed up to apologize and give his item report. Turns out he was trying to intimately text his wife. Whatever gets you off, I guess. Story 24. A buddy of mine was talking to this girl and had their convo open for some reason. When I asked him to play against me at NHL 15, he got up, said to me out loud, "I'm going to spank your effing butt," and sat down in front of the TV. He looked down at his iPhone and somehow it had recorded him saying only that and automatically sent it to her. They're dating now, but you should have seen his face. He sat there for a good 20 seconds yelling, "No!"
I mean, he thought, screaming out no for 20 seconds because he thinks he ruined things. If I had sent that text to a girl that I was interested in, I would have been like, all right, well, she's going to find out who I am real quick. Let's see how this goes.
Story 25. Not me, but my dad tries texting my sister Carol by using Siri. Siri asks what message he wants to send to Carl, my dad's work associate. My dad says, "Cancel," repeatedly, to which Siri sends, "Cancer, cancer," to Carl. Carl had recently been diagnosed with cancer. Story 26. Wrote a really long detailed message explaining my hatred for my unemployed, unstable douchebag of an older brother. It was a really brutal, wish he'd kill himself kind of crap. It was for my mother because I was trying to get her to kick him out of the house. I sent it to my brother. He just texted me back with some "watch your back" BS and continued his terrible, worthless existence. Story 27. My friend and I were talking about an annoying mutual coworker who was basically treating the intern as her personal slave. I meant to text my friend, "Who the hell does she think she is? Poor intern's name. I would have told her to shove it up her butt an hour ago." Guess who that got sent to? Story 28. When I was in high school, I was a leader of the marching band my senior year. I intended to text a good friend of mine as part of a running joke we had at the time. "Are you still alive?" Well, this would have been all fine, except I sent this to a kid who had been in the hospital for a week and later that day went into a coma. He's fine now, but crap was serious for a few weeks. He thought it was pretty funny, although his parents seemed to really hate me. Story 29. I texted my male roommate not to forget the new batteries for the vibrator. He texted back that he had wondered why all the animal/jungle sounds had stopped the night before so quickly. That was when I realized I hadn't texted my girlfriend. He did bring batteries, though.
That's a good roommate. Look, if you still need hang on to that roommate as long as you can, because you know what? That's not just someone good to live with and who's considerate. That's a friend for life.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.